go ahead and bring on stage people on the panel today. Mr. Joe Hickey. Joe Hickey has a long history in the hemp industry. I've known him for many years. Started when he founded and became the executive director of the Kentucky Hemp Growers Cooperative. That started back in the early 90s. They did a lot of legislative work, a lot of lobbying and activist work back then. Joe Hickey and Woody Harrelson established Tierra Madre in '97, which focused on creating environmental solutions, and in '96 orchestrated Woody's hemp planting, arrest, jury trial, and eventual acquittal. In '98, Joe is a founding board member of Kennex Limited, which was Canada's first hemp seed and fiber processing company. After 27 years of lobbying and research efforts, he is today a founding member of Italo Holdings up in Kentucky. Joe is also a founding member on the board of Friends of Hemp and the Kentucky Hemp Industry Association. Next up is Dani Billings.
Thank you for repping that. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
I've known Dani for many years. She's been a huge part of the industry from the get-go. I consider her a close friend of mine. She started her professional career in cannabis back in the 96?
Oh, well, no, I mean 86, but you know, we don't gotta go there.
Basically when she was born.
When I was born. No.
She started Colorado's first all-organic edible company called
2008.
Yep, Tasty Yummies.
Yeah.
In 2014, she started the Colorado Hemp Project, which was the first legal hemp farm in the U.S. and first successful hemp crop since Prohibition. They specialize in genetics and farm development. In 2014, she started Nature's Root, co-founded that, focusing on all things hemp, localizing sustainable healing for our body and earth, which is an amazing company with a bunch of really, really good products. If y'all haven't been by their booth, you definitely just stop by. She's got samples out there. Love her products. She has also made a name for herself in the industry by spending a lot of time educating and spreading the good word of planting hemp, not just here, but also in other countries. So glad to have Dani here. And also Keith Jones. Thank you, Keith. Keith is the GM and CEO of Rowland Seeds out of Manitoba, right?
Actually, Alberta.
Alberta. He has a passion for agri-foods, renewable resources. He also serves as the director of the Canadian Hemp Trade Alliance. So with that, we're setting up, basically, what does it take to build a team that's going to be successful in this industry? There's a lot that goes into it. There's more than one facet. A lot of people think, oh, well, if you just do some social media, you're going to be able to get by. There's a lot of support staff that go into creating a successful company. I know Joe's been around for a while. His team has grown expansively since the mid-90s, especially here in the past few years. Dani's team has grown a lot, and I would imagine Keith has as well, all in different parts of the country and around the world. So Joe's out of Kentucky, Dani's out of Colorado, and Keith's out of Canada. So we got a good perspective of like what's going on where in a couple different industries also. Joe, what do you think are some of your big keys is when you're looking at your team and specific areas of interest that you're trying to build?
Well, I think in order to build a team, first you have to have a marketing budget, or a budget for marketing, advertising, PR. So to me, the most important thing to get a company started is to start with, does your company have a history for branding? Are you going to make up a history for your branding? And who's going to be the guy that does that or the girl that does that? And so it's about branding, marketing, PR, sales, and you have to have that as a foundation for whatever you do.
So with that being said, do you typically think this is a year-long project to get to that point, or something you should be looking at maybe 6 months in advance? Or?
No, I mean, that's, to me, it's important to have, you have to have branding and marketing in place before you do anything. And once you get your branding and stuff, well, I mean, you've got to hire someone, you've got to find somebody that is good at doing that, because, well, and it's not only branding, because it's like separate. If you're going to do branding, you almost need to find somebody that does branding. Marketing, you need a marketing specialist. And you might find that in the whole, all of it in one person. Probably not, but if you were lucky, you'd be able to find somebody that could do all that. Initially, that's what you know, to do anything, to start any business, that's what you need.
Danny, you did a lot of that for Nature's Root and Colorado Hemp Project on your own. I know originally followed you on Instagram and Facebook, and the first time I met you, I bought a shirt that says, "I'm just a little plant."
Yep.
And people love that type of marketing. And for those ideas to come to fruition, I would imagine it was you and several others sitting around a table, but
Usually just me.
usually just you.
Yep. Usually just, I come up with a lot of ideas. I think the plant is my main inspiration. I don't really get inspired by many people or things in life besides something that can be good for people.
Yep.
And this plant does a lot of that. So I'm constantly inspired. And I bring on people that are passionate in my company and that have, you know, I just work with passionate people. I don't really, you know, I'm not really trying to go recreate the wheel with anything. I think that it's easy to work with really shitty people, and it's really, really hard to work with good people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'd rather put in the effort to work with the good people instead of the people that are just here to take ideas and take information and then go start their own company, which I've dealt with plenty of those people. I mean, a lot of this industry is based off of those type of people that don't have original ideas or original creativity or anything. And so I like to bring originals, you know, people that are really special at what they do, and I like to go and search those people out and have them be my partners, and that's who I bring a part of my team. And it's all been very natural and organic, you know. I never went out and had a huge funding budget, and it's really, I think, people are attracted to the passion of this plant, and people are attracted to people that really want to do good with this plant, and a lot of people can sift out what's good and what's not. So I think they're attracted to things that I do because I do it with passion. It's just naturally led there. You know, I haven't really pushed it harder than that.
That's why
Those are the people that I like to work with.
That's
and
why
that's
I
how
follow
market
you.
my stuff, you know?
So I follow you and love your company and everything you do, and your dad and your mom. Like, y'all have a really good family thing going. It's neat to follow and keep up with. Keith, what do y'all do for rolling seeds? How do y'all start when you start to build your team out? What is one of the first things you think about?
Well, we farm, and farming is a people business. It really is. And so Roland Farms started in hemp in 1998, but we've been growing crops organically for 10 years before that. And so when we got started with hemp, we didn't know anything about hemp. So we take it back to 1998. And our focus was always hemp green for food, and that continues to be what our business is all about. But the owner of the farm, he was an entrepreneur. He identified this as a great opportunity. He identified a couple of entrepreneurs who were interested in hemp processing and figured out how that worked. And they said, well, we'll figure out hemp processing and how to get these hemp grain derived foods into the marketplace. You figure out how to grow it. You figure out how to harvest it and how to get us the kind of quality we need to be able to make inroads into the market. And really, it started out as a partnership. It was just really early on connecting with people who were authentic, who were serious about what they were doing, who were passionate about it, and continuing to work with them on a partnership level. I think one of the big challenges for an industry like we're building now is it's really easy to slip into this competitive vibe where we're competing with each other. Well, competition's fine when the market's mature. When you're trying to build a new market, when you're trying to build a new business, when you're trying to build a new opportunity, you need each other. You even need your competitors. Yep. It's really, really important. So that's been one of the great things about the hemp industry and the hemp journey for us. I'm only 3.5 years into the hemp business, and I feel like I'm still drinking from the hemp fire hose. Even though we grow tremendous acreage of organic hemp.
That was so good. That was good. Thank you. That was a good one.
So, I mean, that's a lot of what it takes is you can't do all this on your own. You're going to have to reach outside a little bit for partnerships, collaborative efforts. Joe, what would be, some people oftentimes don't have the funds to go out and build a budget. And so working with people and doing collaborative efforts.
Well, there's not only the collaborative efforts, which kind of come along with it as you get further down the road, as you get a company started. But when you're getting a company started, one thing that a lot of people really don't look at that there's out there, because we get calls from the university all the time with these young graduates that are looking for, you know, to start, someplace to start. So look at interns, because the interns want to learn, and they're willing to learn. You know, we've got interns who work with us, but we pay them, you know, stipend like $10 an hour. And well, I mean, but most interns we just want to work with you to learn how to do the business. And that's something a lot of people overlook, especially if you don't have a budget starting off with. Interns are a great way of getting help. That
Interns without funding.
well, no, we fund them.
No. What I'm saying is interns without funding, meaning they're not going to come to your spot, get all your knowledge, and go take it away and go do their own thing.
Right.
Well,
That's
I mean,
not- 'cause there's a lot of those ones out there.
Yeah, I started.
Interns with their own funding, with their own intentions.
Oh, right, okay.
Be
yeah.
careful.
Yeah, I started in this industry through internship with Colleen and the Tennessee Hemp Industry Association, and I couldn't be more appreciative for that. It was an unpaid, unfunded position, but just got me in the door to allow myself to educate others and be educated on the crop itself. So, Danny, can you speak on like what type of issues you've had with bringing people in? Kind of like
Because
that?
everybody's like, they just want to take your stuff. It's like, where's the opportunity?
Yeah. So sometimes.
It's like, you know, they're out there searching, they're like, you have an opportunity, I'm just gonna come take it from you. That's really what it is.
Yeah,
And they just wanna take your ideas and take your energy, basically, that you have towards this whole situation. And it's been kind of it's not been pleasant. I mean, I don't think I've had that great success. Definitely been through the ringer for sure.
What's the best way to keep that from happening, do you think?
Work with good people, with people with passion. Like, don't come in and just want to learn everything from you in like 3 months, you know, and then go do their own thing. Just get someone that can basically prove themselves, you know, and that's kind of hard to find in this industry too. It's not been easy. I mean, it's not an easy thing to find good people that just want to help you and your job and your mission.
You mean they want $1 million crop in an island?
100%. They're like, wait, what? You do this, and this? Okay, I'll take this one, and I'll leave you with this one, just so you know you're doing some work. You know, but it's like, it's so crazy. You know, people's true intentions. There's definitely good people out there, and that's what's making this industry thrive. There's a lot of people that have come in with that opportunistic type mind that's like, oh, I'll take that opportunity if you're just going to lay it out there for me. Why not? You know, it's too much money in the game right now for people to not want to be interested in taking from other people. It's ego. So, but it's good. We have good people. I mean, it's taken years to develop a good team. We're confident with our team now, but it's not like we haven't been through issue after issue and replacement after replacement. You know, we've definitely been through that. And I think a lot of companies have been through that. I've seen it personally. Multiple companies even going bankrupt and having to start their team completely from scratch. You know, I mean, it's a beautiful industry, but you have to know what you're doing when you come into this industry. You can't just come into it expecting, you know, just rainbows and pots full of cash. You know, it definitely is not that. It's definitely a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of planning. It's a lot of making sure you're working with the right people and the right processors and the right farmers. I mean, it's a whole big umbrella. You know, it's not, and I'm involved in every aspect of it, so it's not like I'm just focused on manufacturing. We have multiple teams with each company, you know, so it's hard to find great people with each company, but at this point, I feel like we're at a good solid, been through enough years, you know, and we've been through enough people that we definitely have found a nice, solid place within this industry that we're confident in, at least.
And we operate mainly in the CBD industry, but Keith, you operate in the seed industry, in the grain farming aspect. It's a little bit different as far as like PR and marketing goes on that. How do y'all go about making sure that you're known in the industry?
Well, and I think the biggest thing for us, even starting out, was trying to find supply chain partners who were as interested in giving as they were in taking. To your point, Danny, the relationship kind of starts by, you think about, are we going to do this as partners over the longer term, or are we about the next transaction? Is it about the next deal? And over time, we just figured out, let's work with people who want to build a relationship together over the longer term. And so we needed to build relationships with seed breeders. We needed to build relationships with processors who have good reputation in the food market. We weren't interested in developing a Roland Farm brand of hemp hearts or hemp protein or hemp seed food oil. We were interested in partnering with really good companies that could do that. And some of the people we partnered with have been just sensational. And we picked some partners that weren't as good. And over time, it was a matter of where can we learn and grow and learn together. And it's also one of the things that a really valuable part for us in understanding that is understanding who is willing to share information, who is willing to share insight and ideas. The Canadian Hemp Trade Alliance is the industry association in Canada. It's a community of competitors, but they're very, very good at knowing what to share and knowing when, okay, this is competitive information. We're not really going to talk about that, but while we're together, let's talk about this and this and this and this. So that's really helped us kind of build the industry in Canada to where it is today, where we're doing a pretty good job of providing hemp for food. And so that's really comes down to a partnership approach.
Joe, with PR, y'all done a pretty good job. You got the whole sending a hemp plant to space to be able to do some experiments up there. How do you go about
That's
creating
cool.
that marketing
You're doing
idea? Yeah, right.
When are you doing that?
Well, we're working with a company called Space Tango, and we're going to send a kilo of hemp seed up to the International Space Station on April the 25th. And but just as you know,
This is cool, you guys. If you're not aware,
one of the few examples of what you can do if with PR you have to look and grab something that comes your way, and you never know when it's going to happen. This was just something that happened to us, and we grabbed the opportunity. With PR, you have to look. With PR, there's two things that happen. You're either reacting or you're proactive. With a proactive PR, you're looking at Queen City, Queen City Hemp that has a seltzer water. They were proactive when the state of Ohio, or was the Ag Department, said you couldn't put CBD in a beverage. And so the guys at Queen City were proactive, and they could have just sit there and just, said, well, we'll figure something out. But instead, they sued the Ohio Ag Department and getting PR off of it. A lot of people are afraid of lawsuits. I love lawsuits because when we had the Kentucky the Kentucky Hemp Growers Cooperative in the early days, we were proactive and filed a lawsuit against the DEA.
Yeah, not all lawsuits are bad.
No, I mean, there's good lawsuits and there's bad lawsuits. And so if you look at PR as an opportunity waiting to happen, it doesn't. You have to be proactive and look at different things that you can do to go out there and create the PR. It was like when Woody came in to Kentucky, I had the idea, let's plant 4 hemp seeds. And Woody's going, you're crazy. I was going, look, what's the worst thing that could happen? They're going to fine you $1,000. It was a misdemeanor because it was only 4 seeds. Or you could spend 30 days in jail. You're like, what? But just, being able to do something like that to get national attention, it's being proactive. And there's reactive stuff that you can do too, but being proactive in your PR can really make a difference in how the future of your business runs.
So I have a question. Why hemp in space? Like, what's the point?
I can tell you.
I just want to know.
I'll
What's
tell
the
you
point?
a couple neat things about plants.
Where are you planting it?
Plants in space in general.
Is my question.
So there's been numerous studies done with plants in space, and it can actually change the DNA of the plant itself. Right. Not necessarily reproduce genetic of that plant, but the plant itself.
Right. Because This,
Just the
This-
anti-gravity effect.
yeah, and this would be the first time that hemp has left the gravitational pull of the earth since the beginning of time. Yeah, I mean, so nobody knows what it's going to do. This first time, on the 25th, we're going to send it up, and it'll be up there for 6 weeks, and we've got a control sample that we have, and we're going to grow both of them out. But then Victoria is the strain. So what we're going to do is about 4 months after that, we're going to send it back up, and we're going to do germination in space to see if there's any change when it's actually germinated in outer space, and then we'll bring it down, grow it out, and see what
Shoot it down from space right into the ground.
Exactly right.
So there's been plants, there's been plants in space that they've actually created a resistance to certain diseases. There's some plants at the University of Tennessee that spent time in space and now are resistant based off their time in space. It's not normal. But you can have mutations occur even within the plant, separate from the reproduced plants.
Yeah.
So that's one level of good PR. Like you said, though, sometimes you got to look at the bad side of PR. You don't want to have the news story about your company doing something unethical, and so you got to be on the lookout for that as well. You don't want something ending up in the wrong hands, especially when you're in the hemp industry. It's real easy for things to get conflated, and people will just automatically assume that it's marijuana. So staying away from that as much as possible can oftentimes be difficult when it's an education issue. And Danny, I know you've done so much for education since I can remember way back. I mean, it seems like you're constantly somewhere educating folks, and that's probably a huge portion of your PR and marketing as well. So how do you put yourself in the position to have those educational opportunities?
Just pay my way. Nobody pays myself, I just pay my way. You want it done, you go get it done. But I want it done, so I go get it done. I got nobody else to tell me to do what to do, so I just do what I want to do at this point. And I just go and, like, I'm giving away a house. Nobody's giving away a hempcrete house.
Will you tell them about that? Because that's a really good PR.
Yes, I'm giving away a hempcrete house in Jamaica, June 21st to 23rd. It's in Montego Bay. We're giving away the land and the house. It's the first hempcrete house in the Caribbean. And it's going to launch the whole, basically, building aspect of hempcrete down in the Caribbean, because they grow enough ganja down there that you can, use all the stalks for more sustainable purposes. And I've been working in Jamaica since 2015 and have plants down there with waste. So we're going to build a house and give it away.
So how do you
So we can educate people for free how to do it. My whole play is I just want this product to be out there in the world. I don't really have to be paid to do what I love. It's weird how the plant takes care of you if you take care of her. So I'm just out there educating and putting it out there on the levels of which I feel that need to happen to help create new industries and new innovative, outlets for it. And a lot of the time it takes money to get those things done. And I've been fortunate to be in the position that I'm in, to be able to donate products that we grow, and we just grow a lot of products, so I have a lot of stuff that I can give. So I'm going to give this product and donate a house and show people you can grow a house off of 2 acres, and you might as well do it yourself because nobody else is going to do it for you. And just be, it's really just giving people more power within themselves. This plant is really to help us, like not just our pockets, but like our mental, our physical, all different types of things, the planet, So if we just look at it in that type of light versus just profits, then it really kind of creates its own marketing.
Yeah, the plant definitely has an aura about it.
Yeah, its own branding. It's so I don't have to pay for any of this stuff. It's literally, I do what I want, and I want to see this plant be used in every outlet possible. So that's what I do.
So how does
do what I want to do.
I think several people got really excited when you mentioned that you're raffling off a house.
I'm raffling off a
house.
house.
So how do they get into that raffle?
If you come to Jamaica, Montego Bay, June 21st to 23rd, you have to be physically at the event, put your name in the raffle bucket, and if you get drawn, you get the house. So anybody can do it. And we're going to do that all over the place. Jamaica's just the first place. I'm going to build a house, hopefully, in every state. in country is my goal.
You probably just sold like 4 flags.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my goal. You know, it's just to and put people out there, or put this plant out there for the people to not get bored on. CBD is great, but like CBD can only do so many things. You know, I mean, he's doing food. Like, imagine everything else you can do with food. You know, imagine all you can do with the stalks. So much more creation than just 90% of what you see inside there. You know, and that's what my goal is to create innovative, cool things for people to just keep on doing, because most things are passion-led, you know, So
it takes a lot to have a successful business, a successful team. I'm sure, Keith, there's like the science side of it. You got your hardworking farmers, you got your support staff in the office. What are some of the biggest positions when it comes time for someone to do something in the grain industry like yourself? What are some of those positions that are key to get filled?
Well, one of the things that was a bit of a surprise for us is we've been farming organically for a while and growing conventional agriculture crops and wheat and barley and flax crops, peas, protein crops. But hemp is a raw food. Hemp is a raw food. So one of the things we had to do is get up to speed on microbiology. And we had to actually create our own microbiology testing capability for our farm. Now, that seems a little extreme, but we are growing over 5,000 acres of hemp a year. So we're producing a lot of grain. Hemp for food is never cooked. It's never processed. It's a raw food. So you take the hemp grain, you dehull it, you take out the hemp heart or hemp nut, and that goes into breakfast cereals and granola bars and so on. Or you cold press it using a good quality cold press extractor. You get the hemp oil and you get the hemp protein. So we had to do a lot of things in quality control that we weren't used to as farmers. That's not the kind of thing we had to get good at. We had to get good at licensing. We had to be really good at maintaining all the regulations and adhering to all the regulations that suit a crop that was very heavily regulated. In Canada, we've been over-regulated for a lot of years. That's actually helped us because it's helped us learn some things. But to have a microbiology lab, to have a QC team, it's a little different from what you see on most farms. And it meant we had to learn to use technologies like NIR. We had to learn to use and do moisture testing on everything. We had to adopt good agricultural collection practices for sampling, which meant no hands on the hemp grain, because microbial contamination comes if you touch it with your hands. So we have 80 employees that are involved not only with our seeding and harvesting operations, but they're involved in cleaning the hemp grain to get it ready to go to our processing customers. And just teach them, when you take a sample of hemp, don't just use your dirty glove that you used when you change the oil in the tractor to grab that sample of grain. So it was scientifically pretty rigorous, but it's helped the industry get to a level where people now are trusting it. They're understanding it, and now we're kind of at the other extreme. We, with the Canadian Hemp Trade Alliance, want to make sure people understand and that we can build confidence in hemp as a really safe food. So we're contributing to ASTM, the standard certification body, and they started, I guess, in the 1800s, because light gauge railways had different gauges as you went from one state to the next. So ASTM was established to try to develop cross-border standards for a whole range of industrial issues. They established a D37 Cannabis Standards Committee, but that committee was focused entirely really around the medical marijuana side, so a number of working groups. So about 6 months ago, they established an industrial hemp working group to start to develop standards. We're proposing some standards on the food production side, but there's a lot more work to do, and these will be globally adopted standards confirmed by ASTM with a balloting process. Lots of science, lots of rigor, lots of consensus, because all the ASTM members get to vote, yeah, we agree with that standard, or no, we don't, we think the method's wrong, that sort of thing.
10 plus hours a day, you know. Can you manage people? Just like normal questions that you would ask a manager. A lot of people don't understand that farming product can, you know, comes along with managing the people. So just someone that does both.
Willingness to get dirty.
Willingness, yeah.
Yeah.
Willing to learn. Totally.
Keith, what about
Someone
you?
that doesn't know everything.
Right.
Or think they're the best grower.
Yeah, yeah.
Those ones are hard ones to
Plenty,
deal with.
plenty of master growers.
Plenty.
There's probably like 500 in this room.
Yeah, I think every single one of you is a professional grower, actually, so it's crazy.
Keith, how do you go about picking out your farm team?
Really on the farming side of it, it's interesting because it's about people who are willing to work hard. People understand that, you know, it's about getting it done, whether it's seeding or harvest time, right? It's about getting it done. If the weather's going to change, you got to get on it. We actually harvest using John Deere combines. We swath our crop when it's ready to go. We farm in the desert in southern Alberta, so a lot of our land's irrigated land. But when it's time to go to swath, you swath, and away you go. If the relative humidity drops a little too much or it's a little too hot, you can't harvest in the daylight because that fiber, that straw going through the combine ignites. It's combustible, and we actually have video of little balls of fire coming back out of the back of the John Deere combine. And so, sorry guys, we can't run the combines in the daytime. We gotta wait till the dew comes, and we're gonna be running all night. And we're running from 10 p.m. till 6 in the morning, and that's when the combines are gonna run in the hemp crop. So finding people that are willing to do what it takes, and you don't, you know, obviously you're not asking them to do that 365 days a year because that doesn't work. But when it's time, you go and you get it done.
And that can happen not just in the field, but it can happen in the lab, in formulation. There's lots of times where, you know, you're gonna have a customer ask for something that you don't have on hand at the moment, but you might be able to make happen by the next day. And so that's where having those key team members in place that are willing to do the hard work, the grunt work, the whatever, whenever type of work that is really going to pay off. And that's oftentimes really tough to find. I know there's like some staffing solutions out there, but I always feel like the organic, you know, meeting someone, getting a feel for them, is always going to be the best route. Have y'all ever considered using like a staffing solution place for any of your businesses?
We haven't, but we're a little bit fortunate. We actually have a lot of the guys who work on our farm are actually Mexican Mennonite. And they're actually connected to a couple of families we built a relationship with, and they actually vet the people that come and work with us. And what happens is we'll identify something, what we might need, some additional guys, we'll get some people apply, and then our guys who work out in the field, they interview them. And they determine whether or not this is somebody that they want to have as part of the team. And they'll either embrace them or they'll run them off. It's been incredible, and it has actually built quite a team feeling around our operation, because we let the other members of our team actually confirm our hiring.
Yeah, I think that's part of it is, you know, when you're looking to hire people, knowing the position that you want filled, but also knowing what all the aspects of that position are. That way you're not just hiring somebody to do marketing, but in the end you're wanting them to, you know, help with strategy, you know, and making sure that you're picking those people strategically, knowing what they're good at, and what you want them to be used for. And oftentimes it's putting those people into position and seeing what they're capable of, rather than just being told what they're capable of.
Know that, let them know you care about them. Make them feel like they're part of the family, and, you know, have little events once or twice a month where everybody gets together and talks about their issues and everything. It really helps out a lot. In
this industry, it's full speed ahead, so taking that moment to be appreciative and thankful of those around you that are putting in the hard work and the time that you are, can go a really long way. I wouldn't say, you know, it needs to be done every week, but, you know, you should at least be giving somebody a hug and thanking them as much as possible. And I think that's a lot of what this industry is love for each other, for the plant itself, and what we know that it can do as far as the sustainable agriculture side for healthcare, for food. It goes a long way with the plant protein side of things, the medicine side of things, from cars to buildings to textiles that we can sit on and work around. And I think we've got a pretty bright future as far as that goes. I would just make sure everybody, just spend the diligent time when it comes time to hire people, because it's going to pay off in the end. If you're not putting more time into making sure you make those choices early, you're going to spend more time in the end making up for those decisions that you missed early on. So I'd like to thank everybody. It's great to be here at Noco. I'd like to thank Morris for doing this for us. It's always a good time, and it's always good being able to bring some education to people who are looking for stuff. So thanks again, and if y'all catch us around, feel free to holler at us and ask us any more questions you might have.